It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Boy, I'll tell you what, they didn't tell me who was coming today. They didn't tell me they were sending in a whole group. I've got an army of IRMC folks with us here this morning. Theresa Kineer is with us, Rahcel Duff, Terri Claypool as well, and Don Lynsenbigler with us as well. And Don, you're actually somebody who uses the services of the Diabetes Education Center. All right, we're going to ask you all to step up toward the microphones here. Okay. Our conversation is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted best personal injury law firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Ladies, Theresa, are you the leader of this pack here? Or?
I think I am. I'll be the leader today.
All right, you'll be the leader today.
Yeah.
We have heard the commercials over the course of those last few weeks about diabetic neuropathy, and we need to know what that is, and Don will hear your story about it, and we'll hear from these other ladies as well. We're joining Theresa. Did I say Terri and Rahcel and Don? Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, yes. We got everybody.
I named the whole band here.
We got the whole crew.
Yeah.
This is your diabetes team.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Theresa, there's an event coming up.
There is an event coming up next Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. It's going to be in the cafeteria. And Dr. Shaw is going to be our guest speaker. And he's going to talk about diabetic neuropathy, but he's also going to talk about the non-medication procedure that he uses to help manage neuropathy. So it'll be a good night. A lot of information. We'll have Rahcel Duff there, and she's also our wound care nurse, so she can answer a lot of questions about wound care and foot care when you have diabetes. So she'll be available too.
Hey, Rahcel, step up to the microphone here, and let's learn about wound care, particularly with diabetes, and in light of this event that's coming up. Obviously it's a big enough problem that there are probably people out there that suffer from neuropathy don't even know they have it.
Exactly. People will find wounds on their feet, and that's how they end up in the hospital, and then they realize they're diabetic. They realize they have this neuropathy. I've been working on with Terri and Theresa some education for patients, outpatients, inpatients, both, about the importance of checking your feet when you're diabetic, foot assessments, and daily care.
What are we looking at? Sores, things that aren't healing?
Right, sores, any discoloration, any tingling, numbness in your feet.
And are we generally going to notice on the soles of our feet, on the sides or tops, or?
It could be anywhere, but the soles of your feet, you don't really see them, so you could walk around the house and step on something, not know it, and have a wound start that way. Yeah.
So these aren't wounds that just occur naturally. It has to be some sort of actual event.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk with Terri a little bit as well, Terri Claypool, and get your perspective on this.
Well, people with neuropathy, they have lack of sensation to their feet. Sometimes it happens gradually. Sometimes they have issues such as like a burning sensation, almost like their feet are restless.
Pins and needles?
Pins and needles feeling in their feet. Sometimes it's painful. So some of the procedure that Dr. Scholl will be performing will help with painful neuropathy, and that is what our program is about on Tuesday.
And I'm assuming that the neuropathy is progressive if it's not treated, right?
It is progressive if it's not treated. When your blood glucose levels are high, the high glucose coats your nerves, and it causes damage over time.
Don, let's talk with you about your experience.
I go and I have my feet examined 4 times a year because of being diabetic. And I've also had the burning and the tingling, but nothing serious. And I get it checked where they'll stick you with needles to see if you still have the feeling, which I do. I haven't lost any feeling, but I'm keeping my blood sugars under control. Now, it was a little worse before. I wasn't keeping them under control where I am now. Since going to these classes, I've learned it, and I've done well. I have had no problems in the last few years at all.
Were you aware that you had diabetes when the
It
neuropathy
ran in
developed?
my family, and I assumed I did, but I was later in life that I went and finally got checked.
Mm-hmm. And what spurred you to go get checked?
Having family members that had amputations.
Uh-huh.
And it just kind of scares you. And my mother had it very bad, on insulin. And so I went and got checked, and I was diabetic.
So when you learned that, and it became evident that diabetic neuropathy was also a part of your whole profile, I'm sure that there were great lifestyle changes in terms of diet, correct?
Yeah, but I just thought it was sugar, eliminate sugar. I didn't know till I started going to the classes with the carbs and everything that all contribute to it. Mm-hmm. Once going to the classes, I said, boy, you got to start reading labels and seeing what everything is. And now I know to watch the carbs and everything. You have good and you have bad.
Yeah, yeah. It's not just
sugar. I just thought eliminate sugar. Buy Splenda, whatever. But
drink black coffee. It's not that.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's learn more about the Education Center and exactly what's going to happen at this event, Theresa.
Well, Dr. Shaw will be our guest speaker, and he'll talk about all the different things that's available, medication, non-medication. We'll also talk about our classes and what we can do to help manage the blood sugars so the neuropathy is managed, because unfortunately it can't be reversed, but we can certainly help get it managed through managed blood sugars, managed blood pressure, and your cholesterol level. Mm-hmm. So that's something we can work on with patients to kind of get them into a healthier lifestyle.
Now, it sounds like Don did the right thing. Don knew that he had a family history of it. He suspected that he might have diabetes. And Don, were you suffering numbness in your feet at all, or tingling, or anything like that?
I had some, yes.
Some, and so.
And then I had the thirst. I guess was another big thing that I read, and it said, "Well, thirsty all the time," and that's when another symptom of it.
So that made you say, "Aha!"
I got to do something, because knowing the family history of it, I said I better get checked. And,
yeah. Now, there are obviously people who aren't as conscientious about their health as Don, who just let it slide. We don't want that to happen.
No, we don't want that to happen, and that's why for National Diabetes Month, we always try to come here just to bring awareness for people. And Don is like our walking billboard. I mean, he's over at the Wellness Center, or he's out in the public, and he'll tell people, really, guys, you should check the support groups out that we have in the classes, just to bring people.
Try and get people to come in.
Yeah.
I go almost daily, unless I have an appointment somewhere else. I go over to the S&T Fitness Center, Wellness Center over there, and it's wonderful to go there. The people there are so great, and I get to exercise. They help you out, and meet new people, talk to new people, and it's just a wonderful experience. The exercise is all part of it.
It's a part of the whole formula.
Yeah.
Rahcel, come on back up to the microphone. I want to talk to you a little bit more about what happens when somebody has neuropathy and those wounds. I said a couple of moments ago that it's a progressive thing, isn't it? And it doesn't get better by itself.
Right. It's progressive. And a lot of people, when they come into the hospital, they're already pretty bad, their wounds.
Uh-huh.
So, it takes a group effort to work with them and to get them to heal. And I think, we touched on when they don't heal, that leads to amputations, and it's a huge change in lifestyle.
Yeah. Terri, let's speak a little bit with you about it as well. We're talking here about neuropathy, but diabetes as a whole is something that is really, really serious and leads to neuropathy in this case, but it can lead to all kinds of health problems and in every system of your body.
That's correct. So a high blood sugar can damage all of your organs over time if you don't get it under control. So it can affect the heart, it can affect your kidneys, it affects your circulation everywhere. You get calcifications in your small blood vessels that can cause circulatory issues, which then lead to wounds. With neuropathy, you may not realize if you're walking around barefoot outside, or you may not realize if you step on a pebble. You may not realize it if you have an injury on the bottom of your foot. And not everybody looks. If you can't feel that, then you don't know that there's anything there. So then that leads to severe infection eventually, which can land you in the hospital with a wound.
Yeah, we think of things like the rusty nail that we step on and stuff like that, and certainly that's a problem, but even if you get a little bit careless with the toenail clippers.
That's correct, yeah. No bathroom surgery, we call it.
I get mine done whenever I have every 3 months, I get my nails trimmed when they're checking and examining my feet. That way I don't have to worry about messing up and doing that, cutting myself, and then ending up with a problem.
Yeah, well, up and down. Terri, tell me about the different types of diabetes, because one is one that is more preventable than any other, correct?
Type 2, both of them, sometimes there's a familial tendency. Mm-hmm. Type 1 is an autoimmune issue. So you'll see it in younger people. You'll often see it in children, young adults. We are seeing it in some older adults now because of COVID and the autoimmune issues that come along with COVID. Mm-hmm. So type 1 diabetes attacks the pancreas, which is the organ that makes your insulin, and that requires eventually insulin injections for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Is that what we used to refer to as juvenile diabetes?
Juvenile diabetes is another name for it. Yeah. The other type of diabetes is type 2, and type 2 diabetes can have a strong hereditary component to it, but it can also occur due to maybe lack of exercise, overall poor diet. So it's important to try to eat a healthy, well-balanced diet and get some exercise into your day. And it doesn't have to be strenuous exercise. It can be a walk.
Let me throw another term at you, pre-diabetic. We hear that term a lot. Define that for us.
So pre-diabetes is a blood sugar that is anywhere from 101 to 126. So it's somewhat determined by the numbers. So if your blood sugar is at that level, it's important to start getting some diet counseling. That's usually where we'll start, is with the diet, and maybe just some lifestyle changes like adding some exercise into your day.
Theresa, we only have a moment left, but we want to promote again this event that's coming up. When is it again?
It is next Tuesday evening on the 14th at 6 o'clock. We're going to be right down in the cafeteria, so, park over by the helicopter pad, easy access to get into the cafeteria. But please call the number 724-357-7188 to register. We just need a count for people that are coming, because we're going to have some light refreshments and everything.
Yeah.
We want to make sure we have enough for everyone.
Yeah, well, it's certainly something that we need to pay attention to. A diabetic neuropathy especially can be very, very dangerous, but diabetes as a whole, there's probably a great educational component out there that we really need to pay attention to.
I agree, yeah, and so November always gives us a chance to regroup and think about some new programs that we're going to be doing for the new year. With the Diabetes Center, we do grocery store tours and support groups, classes, individual sessions. So we have a lot to offer to help people to manage their blood sugars. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I highly recommend the classes. They've been good for me. I attend every one I can.
Yeah.
They're great. Yeah. I've learned so much by going to the classes.
Yeah, well, there you go. It works. Dawn is the living example of that. Hey, folks, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com.